Well, good morning, church. Thank you for joining us for our daily Devo. Today we're in 1 Kings chapter 8, and if you're part of the nation of Israel, this would be one of the high marks in the history of the nation of Israel. See, the permanent temple, what we call the Temple of Solomon, because there was another temple later, has been completed. At this point, there has been temporary structure, the tabernacle that David set up in Jerusalem, and that's where worship took place. But he really had a desire to see God have a permanent place, a tabernacle. And though he wasn't allowed, his son Solomon was allowed to build it. And it was a massive and amazing structure, one that at that point was considered one of the wonders of the world. As people would come from other nations and see it, they were caught in awe by it. And this is the day of consecration. It's the time when Solomon gets ready to open it, and there's an incredible prayer. There are just a massive amount of sacrifices that are made. And the most important thing, the Ark of the Covenant is taken. It's transported from the tabernacle by the priest on poles into the Holy of Holies. And from that point on, all the worship will happen in this tabernacle. And for the nation of Israel, there couldn't hardly be a higher point. As a matter of fact, it happens during the Feast of Shelters, which was a time when they basically would camp out, and it was to remind them of how long they were in wandering for those 40 years without any permanent place. And what an amazing time to happen when the temple now becomes that permanent place of worship. But I think if you think about the history of it, it's kind of amazing. Because it's been a long time. It's been about 350 years from when God gave Moses the instructions to build the tabernacle. It's been almost 1,000 years from when Abraham was told that God was going to build a special nation through him. And it just makes me think how we're so in a hurry with God. It's been said that we measure God with a stopwatch, but he measures us with a calendar. Sometimes a year like 2020 seemed to last forever. And looking back, we're going to see that 2020 kind of happened like this. So many times in our life, we're waiting for something. Maybe we're waiting for that job. We're waiting for that spouse. We're waiting for that promotion. We're waiting for that child, something that we feel like we need, and we get so impatient with God. We're one of the few generations that get impatient with microwaves. And at those times, we need to remember that there's part of a larger drama taking place here, something which God is working around us. And, in history, we're going to realize, and we'll see more significantly, how God worked in this time and how it's connected to the rest. I mean, as a nation, we've only been around a little over 200 years. So it's amazing to think, here is Solomon saying all that God promised Moses has happened. And you know what? It's happened 350 years after those promises came. So the next time you feel like, God, where are you? Why isn't this happening? Just step back and say, God, I know you're faithful. I know you'll fulfill all that you have promised. I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you again for joining us for our daily Devo.